They say this is a big rich town.
Yeah.
I just come from the poorest parts. I don't know the words, but y'all get the point. This week's episode starts with Ghost and Tariq riding the subway. Now, I don't know if y'all remember last week, but as soon as Kanan killed Jukebox, Ghost ran up to Tariq and embraced him, but Tariq didn't hug him back. That's important because as they're pretty much, I guess you could say, daydreaming about what just happened, Ghost sees another father-son tandem who look like they talk about all type of things like comic books, sports, video games, and Ghost looked like he wanted that with him and his son. So he tries to put his arm around Tariq, and Tariq pretty much just ignores him, just nonchalant, just doesn't want to fuck with him, pretty much like back. So, that's going on, and they riding back, and I'm thinking to myself like, damn, Kanan's kind of foul for taking the car and making them ride the subway. Speaking on Kanan, this dude's so foul, it's almost safer to not be related to this dude. He done killed his son. He done killed his cousin. Shit, I wouldn't be surprised if he killed his own mama. He did kill that old lady just to move into the crib. I know y'all remember that. So the first character I'm going to talk about for this episode, I'm going to talk about Raina. So Raina, starts off on this episode pretty much eavesdropping, overhearing an argument between Ghost and Tasha about Kanan. And Tasha told Ghost if she would have killed Kanan 10 years ago, that Kanan wouldn't be a problem today. That's a lot to think about, pretty much going back to season 1. So, Raina overhears that conversation and ends up talking to Tasha, and Tasha's pretty much still lying to Raina about what's going on. And Raina's had enough. She's not having that shit no more. So Raina tells her that she wants the truth, but Tasha continues to lie to her. But Tasha does tell Raina to keep tabs on Tariq. If Tariq sneaks out, kind of follow him around or let Tasha know what's going on as soon as it happens. And Raina, wanting her dad to be safe and wanting the family to be safe, agrees to help. Raina ends up catching Tariq pretty much sipping lean and confronts him about everything that's going on. Tariq just not trying to hear anything, just being a dumbass as usual, pretty much informs Raina of everything that he found out. Raina then tells Tariq that what she overheard, Tasha and Ghost pretty much sending Kanan to jail. So Raina tells Tariq that maybe we should go to a private school in Connecticut somewhere. Tariq thinking he a thug and he hard now, don't want to go to no suburban white school. So he pretty much declines that idea. Raina pretty much calls him an idiot, and Tariq had the audacity to put his hands on Raina and push her down. Where's my belt? Tariq need an old-fashioned ass whooping like yesterday. So speaking of Tariq, so we get into the episode and, Ghost pretty much tells Tommy what's going on. They go to Tariq, and Tariq just embraces Tommy, just gives him the biggest hug. And that's important because Tariq didn't embrace Ghost after Kanan saved his life. Kanan and Ghost saved his life. Tariq didn't embrace Ghost on the subway. But as soon as he sees Tommy, he runs up to him, gives him a hug, almost as if he missed him. So Tommy asked Tariq about Dre and if Dre knew about Kanan. And of course, Dre lies about it. And Tariq lies about it to save Dre. We'll get on that a little more later. So they get home and Tasha, just upset and worried, confronts Tariq about where he's been. And you know how Tariq do, being a rebellious child and all, he decides to lash back out at Tasha for not telling him about Sean. Oh shit. Sean. He brought up Sean to Tasha. Tasha was not ready for that. So, they end up getting into it, going back and forth. Tariq goes to his room. He's chilling, playing video games, disrespecting the culture by pouring some lean up in a Sprite can or a soda can. Where they do that at? So, all that's going on. Ghost comes in the room to check on him. Tommy comes in the room to check on him. And Tariq is just not having none of it. He pretty much accuses everybody of lying. It was a powerful line that was said in this episode where Tommy pretty much tells Tariq that Kanan is a bad guy and he should stay away from him. And Tariq responds, "It's hard to tell who's good or bad anymore." Ooh, shit. The shade. Now let's get on Dre. He just seems to have some of the best luck just ever, just getting on week after week after week, just getting by. So we get to Dre. Dre's first scene in this episode, Tommy's just charging him up, gun locked, clocked, and ready to fire, and pretty much tells him, "Did you know about Kanan kidnapping Tariq?" And of course, Dre lies his way out of the situation, tells Tommy that he didn't know anything about it, lie, tells Tommy that he doesn't know Jukebox, true, and that he didn't know that Tariq had been around Kanan, lie again. So somehow, I guess he lies his way out and gets out of the situation. Before Tommy can continue getting more pissed at that, he tells Tommy that he's been trying to get in contact with Julio to no avail. Meanwhile, Julio's car is here, so he may be inside the building. So Dre and Tommy go inside the building to pretty much see what's going on. And a distraught Tommy sees Julio dead. So as he looks at his body, Tommy sees that the 718 was cut off his neck, meaning it was a Torres Loco kill. Dre specifically told the Torres Locos not to make it look like a Torres Locos kill. But because they ignored instructions and everybody know that Tommy is a psycho, shit is about to get real. So when Tommy leaves the building, a cold-hearted Dre stands over Julio and says, "I win, motherfucker." Ooh, I can't wait for the day that Dre gets his. I don't know how, I don't know when, but when they get Dre, it's gonna be crazy. So let's talk about the prosecution side of the episode. So it starts off with Detective Mock bringing in Sandoval, Sax, and Angela, a.k.a. Tupperware Titty, a.k.a. Great Value J-Lo, and pretty much lets them know that they've all been fired. So Angela asks Mock, well, how come he didn't get fired with them? And he lets them know that since he was the newcomer, he was pretty much provided leniency. So after he lets them all go, we realize that Mock has been doing a lot of researching and interrogating behind closed doors. So we get to Angela, who is still convinced that Ghost is innocent. My bad, I don't know who Ghost is. That Jamie is innocent. And Jerry Donovan is still not convinced. So Angela is adamant that James did not do this and tells Donovan if he really wants to find who killed Greg Knox, that he better get on board. So let's talk about Sandoval. This sneaky, fidgety ass dude here. So with the heat turning up on Sandoval, his only choice now is to try to pin the murder on Jerry Donovan. So he's convinced Sax that Donovan did the murder. He's gone to Mock to try to convince him that Donovan's responsible for the murder. He's pretty much gone to everybody but Angela to let them know Donovan may be the person involved. And everybody's starting to believe that except for Angela. Mock, he's a smart man, and he looks like he doesn't trust Sandoval, but at this point, we still don't know where he lies or whose side he's on. So as the investigation is going on, Jerry Donovan decides he has a change of heart and goes to visit Angela at her apartment. So when he gets there, they start talking, and he gives Angela the files to the camera. So him and Angela are going over the files for the camera, and as that's happening, they notice that the only person that went upstairs right before the camera was cut off was Sandoval. Ooh, shit. Meanwhile, as all of this is happening, Sandoval's right in front of Jerry Donovan's house, ready to kill him. He has his gun with his silencer on. He looked like he was going to murder him the moment Donovan opens the door. The thing is, Donovan's daughter opened the door and threw him all off track. So then, back to Angela's apartment, Sax decides to stop by. He was starting to feel the heat from Mock, who he thought that he was responsible for Knox's murder. So he tells Angela, unbeknownst that Jerry Donovan was there, that he feels that Donovan is responsible for the murder, and Mike has been putting that in his ear. Angela opens the door a little further to let Sax know that Donovan heard everything, and they invite Sax in so they can share with them the new information that they just found out. Shit is crazy. Sandoval, that he turning up, boy, you better get out that kitchen. Now let's talk about Proctor, who has been absent these last 2 weeks pretty much of the show. So Proctor's been staying low key because if y'all remember, Tommy killed that Homeland agent in his house. So Ghost, just now finding out that Tommy killed him, asked Tommy about what happened. Tommy pretty much did not inform Ghost of what happened. So Ghost goes to Proctor. Proctor, still kind of looking terrified, tells Ghost that Tommy kills him and that he's pretty much getting rid of the tape and that he cleaned his apartment, all that. So Ghost, not 100% believing it, confronts Tommy again about it and, try to get the story straight and tells Proctor to clean after himself over and over again. I don't know what all of this means. I don't know what it means for the future. But if I was Proctor, I would start watching my back for Tommy. Because when he goes psycho, there's no stopping him. Stern is a funny dude. Every time he's on screen, I'll laugh. But anyway, Stern has Jamie do the interview. Kind of, I guess, to uphold his image, to give it a more positive spin. Pretty much to use James so he can get, what was it? I guess you could say a tax break, just for backing up black people. He's pretty much using Ghost for his own financial gain.
For diversity.
And, Ghost decides that, well, if this is what he got to do, he's going to make it beneficial for himself too. So Ghost goes to the party. He talks to Tate, played by Lawrence Tate. And Stern does not like that. So Stern tells Ghost to stay away from Tate. And Ghost reminds Stern that he is a silent partner. I'm looking forward to how all of that shapes up in the next couple episodes. So let's talk about this old milk dud head ass Terry Silver. So Silver decides he doesn't want anything to do with Ghost. He doesn't want to represent Ghost. He doesn't want to help Ghost. And seeing that he's ready to bounce, Tasha decides to kind of flirt and seduce him to pretty much get him to stay, to at least help represent them. Silver says, no, I'm not going to help Ghost, but I will help you. And that's all Tasha needs. So Silver helps Tasha get her head right for this interview, national televised interview, by the way. And he comes through for him. Tasha's very grateful. They end up going on a karaoke date, singing their heart out, having a good old time. And Tasha pretty much comes on to him again. Silver tries to, I guess, block the advances, but he ain't try hard enough. this situation between Tasha and Silver, they better be careful, because if Ghost gets wind of this, there's gonna be some black on black crime. Ghost can't really top Tasha still a slut though. And the episode ends with Tommy and Teresi finally having that call that we've all been waiting for the last couple of weeks. So Tommy calls Teresi, and Teresi starts off with some small talk and ends up telling Tommy that he's his father. Tommy don't believe that shit. Tommy's pretty much saying, why are you telling me this? You did your end of the deal. Ghost is free. Just go on your own way. But then Teresi mentions Kate, Tommy's mom, and tells Tommy that the reason why he wasn't in his life is because of Kate. He also provides details to back up his statement. Tommy looks confused, shocked, pissed. If I was Kate, I would watch my back, because a psycho Tommy is something that you don't even want to be around. And that's how the episode ends, just like that. I cannot wait for next week's episode. Follow me on YouTube /Jimmy Odus. That's Odus. Follow me on Instagram. That's Jimbo Slice _23. Follow me on Facebook. Facebook.com/Jimmy Odus. Odus. Stay tuned to next week. They say this is a big rich town. Yeah.